Oh hey, what's up gentlemen and ladies? Happy Flag Day to Venezuela. Today, I wanted to talk about the most ambitious crossover event in history. That's right, it's not the Avengers, it's not Ready Player One, it's not even That's So Sweet Life of Hannah Montana, okay? It's Final Fantasy. That's right, roll call, cue the clip! Final Fantasy has had nothing short of a crap ton of collaborations, crossovers, and promotional events with other games, companies, people, and products, and today I wanted to highlight as many as I could. Now I know that undoubtedly I'm gonna miss a few, so if you know any weird or funny tie-ins that Final Fantasy has done in the past, then be sure to let me know in the comments and maybe I'll do a follow-up to this someday. But alright, let's start with a classic, Coca-Cola. Final Fantasy and Coca-Cola are like two chocobos of a feather. You can't separate them, at least not in Japan during the early 2000s. Back in April of the year 2000, Coca-Cola started releasing these little Final Fantasy character figures that came attached to Coke products. These included characters from Final Fantasy VII and VIII, which were dubbed Volume 1, and eventually they also released some for Final Fantasy IX, which were Volume 2, and then Final Fantasy X with Volume 3. However, the weirdest part about this definitely has to be the fact that there was also some TV commercials running at the time showcasing the collaboration, and I don't know about you, but something feels weird to me about seeing Zidane running around Alexandria chasing a Coca-Cola bottle cap. And apparently the jerks over at Coke had the audacity to copyright these trailers, which sometimes included just regular footage from the games, as can be seen with that one time that a video of mine got copyrighted for using footage of Aerith's death. Not by Square Enix, but by Coca-Cola. What the hell? But apparently Coke was not enough for Square Enix. They wanted an even bigger, badder company to work with, and who's more big and capitalistic than the Big D? Oh yeah, Disney themselves. I'm sure you all saw this one coming, as it's probably the biggest video game crossover series of all time. Okay, fine, second biggest gaming crossover series. Kingdom Hearts is just one of those things that should have realistically never existed, but by pure happenstance and coincidence, it somehow became a thing. Square Enix and Disney of Japan decided to work together to make a video game where completely original characters that have nothing to do with either of the two companies go around to half-assed version of Disney movies and meet one or two Final Fantasy characters every now and then. And people often ask the question, how did they pull it off? It is two polar opposite things. You could not have picked two more random series to mix than Disney and Final Fantasy. How did Kingdom Hearts just as a concept actually work? To which I have a simple answer. It didn't.
When'd you know?
I knew when I met you. You and Kairi smell the same.
Nigga, what?! Final Fantasy games have had a ton of theme songs done by various artists throughout the years.
Never sang my songs on the stage on my own.
Alone for a while, I've been searching through the dark for traces of the love you left inside my lonely heart.
But the most interesting, in my opinion, would definitely have to be the three of the Fabula Nova Crystallis games. First, there's the Type 0 theme song, appropriately called Zero. It was played by this Japanese band called Bump of Chicken. And it's also like super copyrighted. Then Final Fantasy XV had 3 separate songs done for it by Florence and the Machine, who apparently is kind of a big deal. The first one is called I Will Be, and it doesn't have any real singing, which is why nobody remembers it. The second is a cover of the classic Stand By Me, also used in the 1986 film of the same name, wherein 4 young boys go on an adventure together and learn more about life and themselves. Subtle, Square. Subtle. And finally, for 15, There Is Too Much Is Never Enough, probably my favorite of all of these. Lastly, there is the Final Fantasy XIII theme song, which was actually a Leona Lewis song that I may or may not have made a remix for, combining it with Hello by Adele. Here's a short clip to avoid copyright. Next, Final Fantasy XIV. That's something that hasn't been said on this channel in like over a year. 14 has had its fair share of crossover events throughout the year, so let's start with the most recent one, Monster Hunter. Players of Stormblood will have a few Monster Hunter world-themed quests to do and things to get, the most notable of which probably being the actual monster from the game appearing in FF14. It's the Rathalos? This thing. You can kill it in the game now. Oh, and also apparently some of the Monster Hunter Pokemon are gonna be in the game too. Okay, not like actual Pokemon, but fake Pokemon, you know what I meant. Speaking of fake Pokemon though, the most Pokemon-like non-Pokemon game in recent history was also in Final Fantasy XIV, Yokai Watch. Running from July to October of 2016, there was a quest in Haven Sword named Gather One, Gather All, which is really just a ripoff of Gotta Catch 'Em All. And completing it apparently got you some Yokai Watch themed medals, minions, and weapons. Whoopee. And the last of the 14 crossovers was this tie-in that they had with the Japanese TV series Garo, which I personally had never heard of up until this video. Apparently it ran from 2005 to 2006, and from what I could gather from this trailer, there's these Japanese dudes with katanas, and there's guys wearing armor, and a lot of flips and sword swings. It's quality stuff, guys. In January of last year, during patch 3.5, players could get the ability to summon Makai armor, use Mado horses, or become Makai priests or priestesses. Here's a picture of the guy wearing the outfit. If you were curious what it looked like, it just looks like some regular ass armor to me. Sorry. But you know what doesn't look like regular Final Fantasy clothing? Prada. You know, the Italian luxury fashion company Prada? Yeah, me neither, but apparently they're a thing, and they design fancy clothing and primarily handbags, judging by the literal only thing that comes up when you Google image search their name. And of course, to celebrate Final Fantasy's 25th anniversary back in 2012, Prada had a tie-in with FF13-2, where they got the characters to, I guess, model some of the outfits for the company. Cause that's how that works, I guess. Now, while I am no fan of the original over-designed Super Tetsuya Nomura outfits of the Final Fantasy XIII cast, I think that I'm starting to understand why they don't just, quote, give them normal outfits like people say sometimes. They look dumb. Even dumber than they already did. But apparently the fashion industry thought that they looked so good that they managed to work out a deal with Lightning modeling for Louis Vuitton. I'm done. I'm done. You can't make me talk about this crap. No, I'm done. So apparently in 2016, Louis Vuitton was just going all over the place with the weird models, also getting Jaden Smith on board. Yeah, the guy responsible for...
I'll bring her a big Toblerone. I brought you a big Toblerone. You don't deserve this big Toblerone.
All the idea of creative director Nicholas... Oh dear God. Square... I don't know, man. However, neither of these actually made it into the games themselves, really just being outside cross-promotional type stuff. One instance where this did make it into the game, though, is with Final Fantasy XV. I'm sure that many of you know that Square Enix collaborated with the Japanese fashion company Rowan to design the outfits of our main party, or specifically Noctis, Gladio, Ignis, Prompto, Core, and She Who Shall Not Be Named out of fear of invoking the fanboys. You can actually even go to Rowan's website and buy the characters' official outfits yourself if you wanted to. There's Noct's gloves for $200, the pants for $800, and the jacket for $1,400. and the socks for 30. But you know, for being a prince, Noctis, Prompto sure does have you beat. His jacket is actually 2,100 and it doesn't even have sleeves. But as ridiculous as these outfits do look in-game, what with all the emo boy band jokes, I gotta say, they look better than the original outfits that they had planned for them. I mean, seriously, Nomura, what were you thinking? Wait a second. Are you wearing Rowan clothes in this son of a bitch? Now, when you know who was taken out of the game and replaced by Luna, she got a new outfit that wasn't designed by a fashion company. However, her wedding dress was, which explains why it looks so stupid. Look guys, maybe I just don't get high fashion culture, but it seems to me that every time Final Fantasy does any kind of tie-in with a super fancy fashion company, the result always looks just kind of dumb. But anyways, the dress was designed by British, in huge quotation marks, fashion designer Vivienne Westwood, responsible for such beauties as this, and even this. Yeah, it's not hard to see why they would get her to design a wedding dress at all. And Square Enix being Square Enix, they had to make an entire quest about going to see the dress in Altissia, which was this, you know, huge event with all these big crowds around it, because who wouldn't want to miss the chance to see a Vivienne Westwood original, am I right? But while we're on the topic of product placement in Final Fantasy XV, let's talk Coleman. The game is all about camping, so Coleman camping gear is perfect to put in everything. Every time you camp, it's there. It follows you around everywhere you go. Even in the final shot of the game that's supposed to be this really emotional moment is ruined because of the big old Coleman logo slapped onto these chairs. Were you guys aware that the continent of America is actually canon in Final Fantasy XV? No, seriously, it can be seen by the fact that the shops in the game apparently accept American Express. What? So let me get this straight. Prompto doesn't know what a gil is at the beginning of the game because the city uses a different currency apparently, but they still accept American Express? What's next? Oh god, the noodles kill me! Yeah, the cup noodles thing was taken to an entirely new level in Final Fantasy. They had a collaboration with them not once, but twice! Oh wait, what? Oh no, 3 times! I almost forgot that they had the villains noodles and the Dissidia ones. Not to mention the entire quest in Final Fantasy XV where you have to kill a giant version of the animal of the flavor of your choice so that you can chop them up into tiny noodles, all while wearing the stupid cup noodle helmet. God, what am I doing with my life? Okay, let's just rapid fire some of the Kingsglaive ones. You see an advertisement for Beats by Dre in the city that totally wasn't outdated even by the time the movie came out. And as most of you know, the Regalia is Regis's car, while Noctis himself actually prefers to drive a brand new 2016 Audi R8 dubbed the Star of Lucis, which can be yours for the low price of $500,000 US. Yes, they did make a real one of these that they showed off at the Uncovered event. Oh god, I haven't even gotten to the Uncovered event. For some reason, they decided to get the Rooster Teeth C team. The Rooster Teeth Q team of Kinda Funny to host the entire event. You know, Kinda Funny, Greg Miller. You know what else was a big thing in the game? Cooking. And Ignis cooks, so what's some pop culture related cooking thing that we can collaborate with? Epic Mealtime? Sure, throw them on as well. Have Harvey strangle the director of the game on video. Why not? And you know who else was formally invited to the Uncovered event? Miss Universe 2015, who is apparently a huge Final Fantasy fan, as she made very clear on Twitter. Now personally, I don't keep up with Miss Universe, or any beauty pageant, as a matter of fact. But 2015's in particular was a very, very special case because most of you might have actually seen it. It was the year that ya boy, Steve Harvey, screwed up the announcement of the winner and said Colombia had won when Final Fantasy girl Miss Philippines was the actual winner. Still a great night though, according to Steve.
It is my mistake. Still a great night. Please don't hold it against the ladies.
Okay, what else before we move on from 15? There was that time that Noctis was in Tekken 7 for some reason, and they also put the Regalia in Forza Horizon 3. Man, they're really pushing this whole car stuff. Oh god, I forgot about the fact that Lightning and Snow were in that weird ad for the Nissan car. But okay, Final Fantasy 15 skins for Minecraft because they wanted to collaborate with other games as well, I guess. Oh, and let's not forget that when the game came to PC, they had a skin from The Sims and Half-Life, including the crowbar as a weapon. I swear, it's literally like they just typed popular PC games onto Google and chose the first two that came up. But by far the most in-depth game crossover that Final Fantasy 15 had was with Assassin's Creed Origins, where they made an entire episode based on the series that was actually canon and gave us the finale for one of the side villains' story where you had to sneak around a town Assassin's Creed style, and to top it all off, apparently the Assassin's Creed video game franchise exists in Final Fantasy 15's universe as well.
The two of them happen to be rather fond of the Assassin's Creed series.
You would be too if you played it.
They had 2 Assassin's Creed outfits for everybody in your party and 4 for Noctis, not to mention that in Assassin's Creed Origins, you got a new mount that was half camel, half chocobo, and oh dear god! Kill it with fire! That thing is gonna haunt my dreams for months! It is worth noting, though, that this would not actually be the first time that Final Fantasy collaborated with Assassin's Creed. No siree! Back in Final Fantasy 13-2, for some time you could actually get an Assassin's Creed DLC outfit for Noel, and 2 Mass Effect armor outfits for both Noel and Sarah. Yeah, raise your hands if you completely forgot that this existed. But it seems like during that generation, Square Enix was really just trying to collaborate with everybody. They had Final Fantasy skins in Little Big Planet. Yeah, remember those? And speaking of things that nobody remembers, there's this game called Everybody's Golf. You might have heard of it. I sure haven't. I'm not actually being sarcastic when I say that. I have never heard of Everybody's Golf up until now. But apparently, earlier this year, they released the ability to ride a chocobo in the game as well to celebrate Final Fantasy's 30th anniversary, even though the anniversary was last year. Good job, Square Enix. And then finally, there was the time that Nintendo gave Square Enix one of their Mario basketball games for some reason, and the result was Mario Hoops 3-on-3, featuring Moogles, Cactuars, Black and White Mages, and Dante from the Devil May Cry series. In return, Nintendo would later include Final Fantasy VII's Cloud Strife in this little game. You might have heard of it. It's called Super Smash Brothers for the Wii U and Nintendo 3DS. And I guess now Ultimate, too. They had an entire stage based on Final Fantasy VII as well, where the game's summons could come in and affect the environment. Really cool stuff. The only thing that was missing, though, was Cloud's Panasonic FOMA P900 IV. Never leave the Batcave without it. Yeah, for some reason they decided that in Advent Children, Cloud was gonna have this stupid flip phone that doesn't just flip open, but also flips sideways, because the mid-2000s were a weird time for phones. Nowadays, of course, we've got smartphones that can download apps and play games like, I don't know, Final Fantasy Brave Exvius? Now, Brave Exvius has actually had quite a bit of different tie-ins and crossovers, like 2B from Nier Automata showing up and Lara Croft from Tomb Raider, but all of those are Square Enix owned properties, so I wouldn't really call them full crossovers. Although, apparently there was that time that they decided to include Ariana Grande in the— Are you fucking kidding? No, that is it. No, you know, I'm drawing the line. This is taking it too far. She's even on the picture. No, I refuse. Damn this game. Take it off the store and burn every phone that has it. No! Cause every time I see this game, I just wanna die. Reminder of how little Square Enix has in pride. Take it all away. Ain't nobody gonna play it. Screw you, Ariana. What did I do to deserve this? See this face, I regret my life. What happened to the days of Tidus, Squall, and Cloud Strife? They took them all away. Yeah. And now ain't nobody gonna play it.